Playing small often comes from past failures, family expectations, fear of disrupting stability, fear of outgrowing relationships, and fear of success creating pressure. Playing small feels safe until it starts costing you more than the risk ever could.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. If you are listening to this or watching this, this is your first time here. I'm Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong, Coldwell Banker, and you have just found the best damn podcast you've never heard before or seen before in your life. We are Old Guys Still Rock, or maybe even better known as OGSR. Today we're going to be in episode number 1. Somebody was asking me the other day, so you guys began there were like 3 years. And I said, it's probably, I don't seem like it's been 3 years. Maybe it has been 3 years. I feel like we're closer to 2 years.
Coming up on it.
He goes, so what are you like on episode 98? I go, no, man. Episode 133, bro. Go every week. So anyway, actually that's what Ken McCumber and I did a nice little hike up this there's mountain off out here. It's really cool. It doesn't look so high, and then you get to the top and you're like, wow, it's really high. I could probably see 40 miles. It's awesome. It's incredible. So anyway, again, your first time here, I'm Blair Armstrong, Team Armstrong, Coldwell Banker. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate. On either side, whatever it's going to be on the left or the right, is a good friend of mine for almost 30 years. The other host of this show, Brent Wright, Brent Wright Incorporated, man with many different hats, from body shops to detail shops to wellness centers. Not really the part of a wellness center. Amazing business coach, amazing personal coach. And then, the biggest thing that we're going to talk about here, like in 2 seconds, him and another contingent of venture capitalists just about, I would say probably 7 months ago, put together actually a body company and has revamped it and is building it very strong. BustedTees.com. Never heard of me before. You've probably been underneath a rock. They're everywhere right now. They're great novelty t-shirts. So if you're watching this and you love novelty t-shirts, BustedTees.com. Small but big business, right? I say small business because you have less than 350 employees. Yeah. Big business because you're all over the world. So kind of cool, and not a lot of AI involved with that as much. But so anyway, but with that being said, again, if you want to, who's Old Guys Still Rock? Well, listen, we got 132 episodes. This will be 133. Go back and check us out. Better than Netflix, better than any of the news channels, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. Why? Because you're going to get a lot of great things in here that maybe if you're stuck in life or you're actually moving at a very fast pace and you want to make sure your things in place, we have golden nuggets every week to help you get to that next level. Just because the standard has been here, we want to help you get to raise the standard to here. So with that being said, man, before we get into the comments, how are you, dude? What's going on? Almost Christmas week. Actually, I think that we're kind of falling that realm.
Yeah.
We are on the 17th. So we're 7 days away from Christmas Eve. But how are you doing out there? You guys are getting that ish ton of rain, bro.
We're supposed to get 2 inches of rain today.
That's insane.
We woke up yesterday morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning, to crashing sounds all around us. And we live in the woods, so yeah, we're kind of used to that a little bit during storms, but this was pretty massive. Big insurance claim on my truck. My truck was hit by a bunch of tree branches and dents all over it and all kinds of fun stuff. So starting to work through that. It looks like probably $25,000, $30,000 worth of damage on a $100,000 truck. So going to be fun. We're going to be cleaning up a lot of debris this weekend after the 2 inches of rain. And so, yeah, it's always a good time. Always a good time.
It kind of to be, that pseudo self-sustainable property that you live on comes with the price, right?
Everything comes with a price, buddy. It's, age-old adage, pay now, pay later, no ticky, no washi.
Right.
So, we've talked about that in a prior podcast, but just to summarize, when you say big business, small business, In the last 90 days, our marketing department has generated 385 million views across 2 platforms for Busted Tees and our Death Star Digest. We've grown the Death Star Digest in 90 days from 0 followers to over 40,000 followers in just under 200 posts. It's been massive, the amount of traction that we've been able to gain by utilizing some of the best people in the industry. And our website's been revamped. We are revamping our artist portal. We are revamping all of our images. I mean, just that small thing to revamp our images on our website for all of the t-shirts, all of the hats, all of the options. We go from super small up to 5XL. So with that, every one of those listings has, and variations too. So if you have 6 colors and all those sizes, all those images need to be recreated on every single listing. We have over 4,800 listings on the website currently.
That's incredible.
So when you guys go to a website and you're buying stuff and the amount of work that goes into it, you just have no concept. I had no concept of what it was going to take to get here. And this team that we have, the Vanderlindens, Alex Vonderhaar, Alex Velez, and a number of other folks across the world. We have probably 12-ish, 13-ish VAs in other countries. VAs, take a side tangent. The VAs have been really scrambling to help us, and we're really grateful for that. And we want to keep them busy and keep them employed. There is a lot of VA work that's going by the wayside due to AI, and we just don't feel that that's the best way to go. It's not personal, and it's not personable. And yes, we could increase profits by cutting out people, but that's not the type of company and type of people that we are. We want to invest in people, and we want to build a community, no different than this podcast. So I have to throw that out to the universe. We are grateful of all the people that support us.
Right. And with that too, that costs you a little bit more money than going with a kind of an AI concept, right? I mean, AI usually is a little bit more upfront cost, but for the long run, it saves you a bunch of money. But realistically, you're investing so people can have, support for their family, provide food for their family, so on and so forth. And I just think that's a big thing. We've talked about that a little bit before. That's not really what we're going to talk about today. But I mean, just how important it is that a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, okay, he's got maybe when it's all said and done, maybe 20 to 30 employees that you have, but that's not really considered, a big business.
Right.
Anything under, just for you guys that don't know this, typically anything under 350 employees is actually a small business. So, I think that's one thing that we're losing it for. Even though that Brent's business makes it super easy to go out and get t-shirts, he's got a niche. It's not that you can go find these in a small store somewhere. No. You've got a niche market that people absolutely love. So again, it's really supported. So when you hear support small business, Busted Tees is a small business just on a bigger reach. So
we're one of the few companies that pay our artists. So our artists, when they when we sell something with their design on it, they get paid.
Yeah. I
just did artist portal payouts yesterday. And it was just their percentage was an egregious amount of money. And it made me super proud to be able to help support those people.
That's awesome, though, man. I mean, how cool is that, though? That is a proud moment. So getting into that, we talked about like you guys are getting crazy numbers, right? On over the last couple of weeks. You're just getting massive numbers of followers and views and all that stuff. So Andy, this is for you, who has been an awesome, not only supporter, but follower of ours of OGSR. She wrote in on our stuff, and this is why we like you guys to write on YouTube so we can talk about this stuff. So she goes, how much ad spend was there obtaining that many views and new followers?
So just for our Instagram, it's not much. So the ad spend for across all platforms, we spend about $40,000 to $50,000 a month in ad spend across all platforms. Google, and that's the Google Premiere as well, and then Facebook and Instagram. Our Instagram, however, is organic. Virtually no ad spend on our Instagram. we're talking like 500 to $1,000 a month.
Yeah. So Andy, there you go. So you guys like, how is he doing all this? So bottom line is like, okay, how are you getting it? And if you want to know the number, go back and watch last week's episode. It's astronomical. It's massive. Or he could actually maybe even tell you
like
what he's
40 million views.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
In a 7-day period. It's crazy.
And you're not buying views though, right? I mean,
you're
literally just advertising.
Yeah. So it's, they're called niche pages. And so they reflect and promote a particular genre. So like our Death Star Digest has a lot to do with Star Wars. That's just a niche page. And then we use what's called CTAs, click to action. In essence, we have a post and then we have an ad and then we have a post. So they're in essence dropping in an ad in the middle of these posts and these reels. And so to get that many views, we have a magician, Alex Velez, who works the magic for us. And if somebody wants to engage him, I can get them his contact information. I'm certain he would take on another client, but he does an amazing job. He really knows how to utilize the system best effectively to get traffic, to drive traffic to our website. That's awesome. Again, just one lane that we're in. So in that marketing plan, there are about 8 or 12 different lanes that we toggle on and toggle off depending upon time of month, time of year, time of day, things like that. And so again, I'm not the magician. I'm just grateful to have a magician that we can call.
Yeah. So with that being said, I mean, when you have that, right? So everyone's like, oh my God, if I have all these views, okay, well, views are cool, but you have to have the foundation underneath those views to go ahead and have it. You have to have a good business accoutrement to make that worthwhile, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So if they go to the website and the website's dog crap, then that doesn't get to purchases. If ease of entry is tough, it doesn't get to purchases.
Right.
We use Shopify for all of our stuff, and no different than any other website, you get these little things that pop up. Well, if you add one more thing to your cart, then you get free shipping. So we have free shipping over $100. We have gift cards with 20% off. Anybody that purchases with us, we give them a discount code that they can send to their friends.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Their friends can get a discount on their first purchase.
Perfect.
And, we're just kind of constantly trickling in all these offers and all these items, enhancements, if you will, teasers to drive business and to promote engagement.
Now, with that being said, too, so switching gears to another comment, Kyle Vanderlinden had a comment for us today as well.
Yeah. So Kyle's comment and talking with him is he feels that our content is getting better and he's grateful for that. However, he said this before when he was on, that his biggest issue with our podcast is that, and Andrea said this as well, that people feel like we just kind of scratched the surface. So that's why we've done like 3-part series and things like that. Over the last 3 podcasts, we've kind of dove into a lot of subjects that have 1, 2, and 3-part series to them. So guys, thanks for the feedback. Keep watching, keep giving us feedback, and we'll try to, summarize these golden nuggets a little bit better for you and stay on task. So
yeah. So
we are both lightly ADD. It's not hard for us to go on a tangent.
So, that's a good question. So we're going to leave that first question at the beginning. So first of all, thanks, Kyle, for that. I mean, we appreciate that. And yes, we kind of scratch the surface on a lot of the stuff because we also understand that people's attention span is like this big.
Limited as well.
Right? Limited, right? Because we've gotten that way. Now, there are studies coming out too that YouTube was really good at shorts for a long time, still good shorts. We get a lot of great views off of our short videos, anywhere from 200 to 2,000, depending on what the content is.
Yeah.
Now, however, those shorts are changing. People are starting to go back into, okay, I want longer stuff. They're locking in for longer, going back for 4 or 5, 6, 7 minutes. So the question I have for you, for all those guys who are listening to this and also watching this is, do you want us to go longer? Because we stay at 45 minutes typically all the time, right around that time. That was really built because of April Wright, the Wright Wellness Center guru of Eugene, Oregon. But anyway, we've been sticking at kind of like at 45 minutes. But if you give us enough feedback, like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, do what Brett says to stay in 2-part series, keep it at 45 minutes. Or do you really want us to like dive in and go Joe Rogan? Because if we want us to go Joe Rogan, you guys who want us to go deeper, you're going to have to come on the show. Because we can only give you so much information without having somebody else who's living it or being it there. So Kyle, I mean, I know that you've been on the show and stuff like that, but you have people that you think that would be good to have them become a guest in there. You don't actually have to be in studio. We can go ahead and pipe you in.
Brent we need Kate and Edna back on. My wife has requested we get Kate and Edna and do a follow-up because it's been almost 2 years since they've been on. Crazy, right?
That's so weird. So weird. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into it, man. Okay. I mean, we got some great stuff today, but I really want to you and I had a conversation last week.
Saturday.
Was this Saturday? Yeah. I feel like every day is like 4 days ago, but we were talking, and I'm just going to, first of all, the subject today is going to be the hidden cost of playing small. That's the subject today, and we're going to get into it. But Brent calls me and he's asking me this question about, I don't know if people are taking me, first of all, I don't know if people are taking me seriously. And sometimes I kind of feel like a fraud. And there's one thing that really stuck out in my mind because I've known Brent for 30 years. And a lot of people will watch this podcast. I have this background here that's here, this step and repeat that you see me, the Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. Brent is literally in his office at one of his buildings, and you hear him talk. I'm like, who is this guy? What does he know about business? He's got an American flag and a Volkswagen sticking up behind him. There's freaking chaos, and it's controlled chaos, but in his mind, the point I'm trying to make is this is the bad part about perception. You don't really know what Brent has really accomplished. He's telling you what he's accomplished, but you don't see him in some fancy freaking studio. We don't spend $1,000 or, a minute to get this up stuff, and people do that, and that's great. But they have paid advertisers, they have paid sponsors, so they're getting funded. We're funding this by ourselves. But we've also have discussed this. If you go back to the earlier episodes, we are controlling our narrative. Meaning is we're not having some guys like, you can't say this. Can't go this route. We go this route. You have to, and that put us in a box. I think that America, especially our society right now, is being stuck or sick of being stuck in a box. My point is, if you really peel back peel back the onion of Brent Wright, who is the host of this show, I think you'd be really, really surprised or actually disappointed in yourself that you didn't spend enough time to invest and find out what this guy is and what he has to offer. I'm not giving him PR shit. This is real life. And this is the problem with a lot of stuff is that we look at stuff on social media or media and stuff like that.
It's all topical.
It's all topical. And we've been begging you for 132 episodes. If you're getting stuck, call this dude. He's got a track record that'll blow your mind. And I'm not, again, he's not everyone's cup of tea. We get it. But there's certain points in life, and this is why, I learn something all the time. Brent learns something all the time. But just because it's something that doesn't meet your eye the way that you've been trained to in society or media, like you have to have this flashy stuff and do all this stuff and do that. I think you missed the boat on this. So when we go into this subject today, I really want you to listen to what he has to say. Get a freaking pen, get a piece of paper, press stop, go back, listen to it a couple times, and go forward. Most of all, go back and listen to the other 132 episodes that led up to this episode and hit that subscribe button and start sharing this out. I promise you, this is probably going to be one of the best podcasts that you, first and foremost, that you don't have to pay for. You don't have to hear ads for as of right now. YouTube will have enough views onto it. We'll just plug them in regardless. But if you're getting stuck in life, if you're getting stuck with relationships or businesses or friendships or just, or you're winning in life, this is going to be, I truly believe this is the best podcast that you have not heard or has enough notoriety at this point to get you to the next level. But I know that was kind of long and out gibberish and all that stuff, but that's the one thing that you and I talked about on the phone. And it's like, what do we have to do next to let people, people go see, hey, these guys are for real. We like to be successful, but humble. We don't talk about our wins very much. So anyway.
So what we were, to clarify what you and I were talking about, is I told you I didn't think that I wasn't a fraud. I felt like I wasn't speaking my truth. I wasn't sharing enough data for people to really formulate a realistic opinion about me. Now, what we were talking about was I had just come back from a rental, and I rebuild my own rentals when they get crap housed by tenants. I had a tenant that didn't tell me that a toilet was leaking. And I did my regular inspections. I did all the things, showed up there, looked at it. The one thing that I didn't do is I didn't personally go in and flush the toilet. And the toilet was leaking for over a year underneath the house and into the floor. And I had to tear off the whole back of this duplex. The whole back wall had to come out. And I couldn't find a contractor. I couldn't find anybody. I have a dear friend of mine who listens to this, great human, good Christian brother. We go to church together. Brad Owen has been extremely beneficial in helping me to get this thing back on task and get it re-rented. Now we're coming up on January 4th, I believe, will be almost 6 months that it's taken me to get this thing back together. No rent, no income, no anything. Rebuilding this place from the ground up. Now, that tenant had been in there for quite some time. And I think that my discussion was based upon, like, what is it going to take for people to get who I really am? That I'm not just sitting there ruling down landlord from on high, on top of the mountain, having a bunch of contractors fix my stuff, throwing a bunch of money at it, charging the tenant a bunch of money. Now, this is going to be a big bill. The tenant's going to have to pay. But it's going to be a lot less with me doing it than it is with me throwing 5 contractors at it and getting it knocked out in them. And I really didn't understand until you and I talked about it, that you've always called me the silent but deadly guy. That's what you used to call me in BNI. And what that means, guys, is that I don't celebrate my wins enough. I don't share them enough. I don't let people know what I'm doing. The amount of time that I invest in people is huge. And my staff can attest to that. My family can attest to that. My son thanks me every night, every single night, when he goes to bed. Thank you for being the best dad ever. Now, he doesn't know any other dads other than what he sees his friends, parents do, people at school, things like that. We have a limited circle that we have for our family. But I truly believe that later on in life, he's going to look at this and he's going to reflect back on the differences that I've made in his life versus what maybe his friends have. And I'm not down on anybody on what they're doing and how they're raising their kids or anything like that. But we talked about this last episode. My family, we have standards. And we have standards over feelings. Now, I'm not telling you that I don't take my kids' feelings into consideration or my wife's feelings into consideration. That's not the case. But when we talk to our kids, we talk about standards. And that's what we've talked about here in this podcast for 132 episodes, is standards over feelings. And for me, I feel like I've been playing small up until a couple of years ago. And we actually had a whole podcast about that. But I don't really think that people get just how far I was playing small. I had created a business that I didn't really have to participate in. And I used to just check out 3:00 every day. We'd light the fire in the wood stove and we'd sit there and drink beer. And I just checked out. I made a decision when I met my wife that I was not going to play small anymore. That was 15 years ago. And we started making a plan, a family plan, to create a life that we didn't have to escape from. And that's what we've done. So I'm dealing with currently all of my uncomfortable truths. And I'm constantly evaluating those uncomfortable truths and making changes and making adjustments. What I found in this is that myself included, but most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they aim too low. And I've aimed too low in regards to how I'm sharing this with the world. I don't have Lambos. I don't have jets. I don't have big, fancy everything. My house is in an extreme state of deconstruction and reconstruction that I'm working on every day and every weekend. You've been to my house. Yeah. It was nicer when I bought it than it is today. My wife, God bless her, has been living without floors for over 3 years. We have nice cabinetry that hasn't been painted. We have her bathroom that I built for her that is 85% done. If I had to be generous to myself, when people come to my house, they're like, wow, I would not have guessed this based upon you. The chaos that you see in my office is not a comfortable place for me.
Right.
My office is a dumping ground for most everything in all of my businesses. A lot of these are chaotic projects that I'm working through and trying to better every single day. Just to clarify, today's episode isn't about motivation. It's about awareness. It's about being aware of how I've played small. People think that playing small is quitting. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I haven't shared all of this with you guys because it's uncomfortable to share.
Let's stop there for a second. Why is it so uncomfortable?
Because then you're evaluated.
Okay.
And then people will judge you based upon that. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I coach people. I think I do a pretty dang good job. Some of my coaching clients can come into my businesses and they don't see a revolving door of customers coming in and coming out. They don't see the busted T's, data and analytics that we talk about here. They don't see my balance sheet every day. Now, remember, my balance sheet started at zero. 25 years ago, I was homeless and in debt, a massive amount of money. My balance sheet started at zero. My balance sheet today is extensive, and I'm happy to share that with you on a one-on-one basis, of course. I'm not going to just throw it out to the world that I'm all this, and that's the uncomfortable part.
Yeah, and it's something that in this day and age with everything, and I think that's awesome that you said that. I'll share that to you on a one-on-one basis because I think someone has to be in there to actually open your books and look at it and see reality. Because you can talk about this stuff all the time, all day, which a lot of these freaking fake wannabes that come out there will do. But if they actually really and looked at not only your incoming, but your outgoing, not only on a daily basis, not only on a weekly basis, but on a monthly basis, even a yearly basis, people would lose their minds by like, there's no way that guy is doing that. This has got to be fake.
I've shared my calendar with you. You're like, I don't even know how you do this.
No way, dude. Like I go to bed. If I sleep 6 hours, I'm like, I underperformed today compared to him. I totally underperformed. And it's something that first and foremost, I know that we're on two different paths. You're a different breed than anybody I've ever met before in my life, which is I'm so incredibly grateful to have that. But it's motivation to keep that bitch voice out of your day. I'm like, okay, can't sit around, put your finger in your butt and watch Netflix all day. You gotta get up and even if it's just getting a workout or getting 2 or 3 hours of concentrated work in, just getting that part done where yours is you're basically working 3 days in 1 day. That's kind of where you got to.
Well, I use that. So I didn't invent this. Right. This isn't new information. I took Ed Milet's 3 6-hour days and turned it into a reality. I studied, I paid attention, I applied, but I still feel like I'm playing small. And I'm not talking about, so we're talking about energy and effort. I feel like I've been staying small because I've created a comfort level. I stay busy. I stay reasonable. I don't stay at a high level of execution that it appears that I'm at from you or other people. My playing small is invisible to most. until it isn't. And then what happens when it isn't? It becomes a mirror that makes people so uncomfortable that they don't want to be around me.
They can't keep up.
Well, maybe that's their issue. The problem is they disappear before I get enough feedback.
No, here's a deal, dude. I think it's to the point of it's so freaking intimidating that having it in front of their face all the time, they're like, F it, I'm out. Like, I'll put it to a different perspective because we're talking about business right now. And I was just talking about this with a comer this morning. And maybe this hits home to a different ear. But I play golf with guys that freaking are +1s, 2 handicap, which means if you're a +1, you're actually under par most of the time. Or if you're a 2 handicap, that you only get 2 strokes out of the horse. So problem is I'm a 13, 14 on a good day handicap.
And you play like 4 times a week.
And I play 3 or 4 times a week. I could put more time into it, but that's not my identity. Okay. Mm-hmm. I could go practice 3 or 4 hours a day. I see guys grinding it on the driving range all the time and doing this stuff. The point I'm trying to make with that is that even though that they're better than me, I still enjoy learning stuff from them. I watch, okay, we're learning how to do that. And I watch them do that shot, okay, or do that, or they get in that certain situation, they do that. So I'm constantly learning from them to where a lot of guys that I know won't play golf with those guys. Oh, I'm so bad. It's going to be embarrassing to be around them because they're going to shoot a 78 and I'm going to shoot a 98. I don't want to be around it. The funny thing, going back to what you are trying to say, and I'm using it as a sports analogy about this, is that the guys that shoot 72, 78, and even you shoot a 98 or 105, they don't give a shit. They just want to have a good time and teach you a couple different things if you ask them. What I'm trying to say is even though people look at you and like, there's no way that I can do what Brent does. Well, first of all, you just shut yourself down. You didn't give him an opportunity to show you some cool little tools. And actually, if you really sat down and talked with him, he's not going to treat you anybody different just because you haven't got to the level or the standard that he has. He's actually going to enjoy giving you the knowledge, which actually is another thing that I learned today, but giving you the knowledge so you can have a better perspective. And knowledge and perspective are 2 different things. Knowledge is a constant of learning. Perspective is knowing.
So it's the exact opposite, I believe, of what I'm trying to say is the exact opposite of what you're saying. Is people look at me and they look at my businesses, and because we're not flashy, mm-hmm. and we're not promoting every single success and every opportunity for success, meaning you don't see me sitting in a jet, running Instagram reels and all of those things. Have I been in a jet? Sure. Have I driven a Lambo? Sure. I've just chosen not to buy one. My wife said, when are you going to buy your Lambo? I don't find value in that. I have a $200,000 excavator instead of a $200,000 Lambo.
Right.
I just choose my toy. Right. And so I'm going to go back to my notes here. And this is exactly true of me and what I'm trying to convey here. Playing small isn't laziness. It's not a lack of talent. It's not even a fear of failure. It's a fear of being seen. Playing small shows up as underpricing your work, avoiding bold decisions, staying in roles I've outgrown. Now, I'm doing that right now. There is a role that I play in one of my business partners' businesses that I have way past outgrown. In fact, I had outgrown it before I engaged in business with them. But I'm still here because for some reason, I feel like I need to help them grow by being here, by waiting for perfect timing, not speaking my truth. I talked about that earlier. Shrinking my goals to match my environment, or shrinking my outward appearance to match my environment. I am the type of person that I want to call it like a chameleon. If the environment's blue, I'm going to turn blue. If the environment's red, I'm going to turn red. If the temperature of the people I'm hanging out with is 70. I'm going to be 72 degrees. Although I may truly be a 100-degree person, because of social ramifications, I show up in the room as the room. I've been to some of your parties. I've been to some of your gatherings. I've been to some of your events when you were a B&I director. And unless you called me out and put me on the podium, I didn't step up and stand on the podium because I was afraid of being seen. I'm always in survival mode. And it's disguised as humility. It's disguised as
Powerful.
A lack of ego. And I told Blair on Saturday, I'm going to take the time and dissect myself and allow him to dissect me and allow you guys to dissect me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very important. Humble is good. Humility is bad for you. It's bad because I'm not showing people what could be next. I believe I've lost coaching clients because they don't see the checks that I've cashed. They don't see the wins that I've won or the losses that I've taken to get to where I'm at today. And I need to figure that out. I need to get back to a spot where people, I shouldn't even say get back, because I don't truly think I've ever evolved to a point where I've shown everything, that I've been turned inside out so people see everything, not just the wounds, but the successes too. People will see me driving a truck and it's just a truck. I pull all the badges off my trucks because that badge usually is the top of the line badge. And I will take that badge off so it looks like a normal truck. So I'm not standing out in the crowd. Well, Brent's just driving a truck. He's a normal dude.
So I hope that you guys go back and listen to the last couple of minutes, because this is this is just not only yours talking to him, but people that we follow and we get our wisdom from. This is what I hear. So correct me if I'm wrong with that. You're actually a detriment to society because you're not sharing your wins and you're not showing other people how to win because you're not being showy. You could go ahead and live in a not saying that your house isn't nice. I'm just saying, let's go over to like River Bend or whatever, that place where the golf course, where all the houses over in off of
Gillum,
in the Gillum area, right? Go live in a 6-bedroom house, basketball court inside. You could you could drive Range Rovers and have all that stuff, and you could be showy, and you have the means to do that 10 times over. But you're like, that's just not me. I don't, as you said, I don't want the attention. And there is, even though maybe I'd be wrong on this, maybe there's a small part of you that wants it, but the bigger part that doesn't want it is suffocating the smaller part, and the smaller part needs to get out and show people, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And if he can do it, I need to talk to him and figure out how he did it. Mm-hmm. How did he lose everything and then build it from scratch, from start?
Yeah.
And that's why I said, so I tell you guys every week, he's a great business coach. He's a great personal coach and stuff, because I know. But then when he just said it, like, look at my office, go look at my house. Why in the F are you supposed to follow me? Should, but why? So he can turn around and be what everybody else has been groomed to see. Like, okay, Brent should be getting off a plane, or he should be speaking in front of 1,000 different people and get paid $4,000 a minute, whatever. I'm just using numbers, but he does it because he wants to do a different approach, and how much people are missing because that's what they're looking for.
Well, and they're missing it, and it's my fault.
Exactly. 100% it's your fault.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I mean, it's the same thing I said to you about, why in the F are you spending all this time cleaning, renovating your rental when you should be out doing other things? Because you want to control the situation. You want to go ahead and, like, I'm going to do it my way. I only know that I'm going to show up every day. If I hire a construction guy, more than likely it's what's going to take me 4 days to do, it's going to take them 4 weeks to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like the least path of the resistance. Get out of my way. I'm going to handle it. And not only is you could be taking that time and energy and putting it into people, not only yourself, but your family, which you do a great job hanging out with your family. There's no wrong parts about that. I mean, you invest in your family more than a lot of other people that I know. But the point of it is it's like, I kind of got mad at you for that. I'm like, what the F are you doing, dude? Like, I understand for you have all of this means and doing stuff. And I know that it's saving you money, but you could be doing 1,000 different things. You get rid of the 50 Volkswagen parts you have. I'm making a joke, but fixing up your office, doing things, doing all that stuff, having another coaching client. You're so used to controlling, being in your narrative or not being seen and like handling it your way that you're not killing yourself. You're adding extra stress to yourself that's not necessary. And you're taking away a job from somebody else. Or even better yet, that this just clicked in my mind. So what if you go ahead and kind of help the other person out? It's teach them along the way. This is the standard, the type of this stuff, and really, become the first part of a property management company to where, hey, when we have a rental gun, I'm going to teach you how to do this. Instead of 4 weeks, I'm going to teach you how to do this in 4 days.
Yeah. So here's my notes on this. Again, okay. I took the time to dissect myself just like I would if I was creating a piece of content for this podcast without me being the focus. So here's the paradox in Brent and most people. The most capable people often play the smallest games. And why is that? Why do I do that? Because I can see the risks, I understand the consequences, and I've learned how to be responsible. But responsibility without vision becomes a cage, and I'm in a cage. I put myself in a cage. Playing small often comes from past failures, family expectations, fear of disrupting stability, fear of outgrowing relationships, and fear of success creating pressure. Playing small feels safe until it starts costing you more than the risk ever could. And that is where I'm evaluating today. I am afraid of failing again. I'm afraid of, I told you I have this truck that I lived in, and I see it every day. I'm afraid of putting my family in that spot where they're living in that truck. My family expectations. I've created a lifestyle that I think is fair and reasonable for my family. Teaches my kids how to be responsible. Teaches my kids that you have to work smart and you have to work hard. That nothing is given to you. That the world's going to kick your ass every single freaking day. And you have to stand there and take it on the chin and adapt, overcome, and improvise. I'm using them as an excuse for playing small. I don't want to disrupt their stability. I for sure struggle with outgrowing relationships. I've gotten better at it. I fired a couple of coaching clients because I just didn't feel that the relationship was fruitful. For them or for me. I was actually holding them back in coaching because I wasn't being accountable. I've actually changed up my whole coaching scenario to be more of an accountability coach instead of a holistic coach. Don't want to do your homework? Good on you. You're going to pay me for 3 more times, and then I'm going to tell you to kick rocks if you don't want to do the work. Why 3? Psychologically, the first time is your mistake. The second time is my mistake because I didn't hold you accountable to it. And the third time is we have to come to an impasse that you're either going to get it and work on it or you're going to go. And that puts pressure because that in itself removes income. It removes my ability to feel like I'm helping others, and it removes the opportunity for their growth, I feel, or have felt, if they're not actively pursuing their dreams, their things that they say they want to do, and all those things. But really, I'm actually holding them back. By me telling them to kick rocks has probably accelerated some of those folks beyond, because now they have to do it by themselves.
Or find somebody less qualified.
Possibly, but maybe that's the person they need to get them to the next level. Maybe they're not ready to go 4 levels up. They say they are, but are they willing to do the work? Really doing the work is exactly this, what we're doing today. Me evaluating myself and calling myself out. The cost of playing small rarely shows up immediately, but it is rearing its ugly head in my life currently. And it shows up as chronic dissatisfaction, quiet resentment, loss of confidence, dimming curiosity, regret that whispers, You could have done more, Brent. You could have done more. Why is it that I don't have a platform that's worldwide? Because I've been playing small. Why is it that I don't have the Lambo? Well, I just don't find a lot of value in that. That's a BS excuse to keep myself from being visible. And I have and continue to wake up years later and wonder where my edge went. The real cost of becoming a version of yourself that feels incomplete. And I'm struggling with incompleteness right now.
Crazy, because you triggered stuff in my mind. I mean, go ahead and have those things. I think the scarcity part. It's what I hear when you say this, even though it may not relate to that, is that you can gather all of that stuff. You can have the Lambos, the planes, the Range Rovers, the nice house, and all that stuff. How hard it is to a certain point to get to that point to afford it, but how fast it can go away. Mm-hmm. Instead of crossing that bridge. Well, I'm only here for a short duration time, which you talk about too.
75 years on average.
75 years on average. But never, and I say this all the time to all my clients, especially when they're working their asses off and they get to a spot and they're buying the house that they never thought they can get, right? And then finally it's a reality, like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this. And I said, I've never seen a hearse without a trailer hitch. Or excuse me, I've never seen a hearse with a trailer hitch. So you can't take this with you, but enjoy the fruits of your labor. If this is going to give you some recognition to yourself that all my hard work paid off and I finally got something that I never thought that I could get, it's not going to define you. It's not going to make you a better person. It could make you a worse person, but it's not going to make you a better person. But enjoy it. Because in a couple of years, it'll go away. You'll sell it. You'll do something with it. People buy airplanes. I talk to guys all the time and have freaking planes, and that was cool. But kind of like I was over it, and I got to do what I wanted to do, and it just became too much, and I don't need it, and so they got rid of it. Still didn't change who they were. Still great people. Still contributed a lot to society, doing a bunch of different things. So it's the same thing as like I've seen you involved so much over the last couple of years, even over the last couple of years, just as this podcast in itself of just who you become and where I knew you from for so long ago. There's so much of me that wants that for you, but I could want that for, meaning go do the house, go do the plane, go do the car, dude. What it is, you could always come back and have a compound later on in life if that's really where you want to end up life. Maybe that's where you want to be, and that's not a bad thing either. But what I would love for you to see you go, because you have so much to offer somebody, and if that's what it's going to take to kind of say, hey, this is what's up to. I go back to Frisella of how he started to where they are today, and how he was so scared to kind of showing his successes, but how much that's actually catapulted them to a different level.
Yep. So one of the most expensive forms of playing small is indecision. Not choosing is still a choice. And you usually choose comfort over possibility. Now, I put myself in an uncomfortable situation. We talk about that all the time, but only to a point. And here's the problem, is when you delay choosing comfort over possibility, the opportunities expire. I'm not getting any younger. Confidence erodes. And momentum fades. The cost compounds quietly every day. And this is where most men will actually just, and to quote that poem, don't go silently into that good night. Most men go silently into that good night every single day because they're making choices of comfort over possibility.
Struggle with it every day, dude. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I'm in a good spot. Don't need to push it any harder. Just keep going. It'll eventually come more and more and more. But, there's a lot of things that whoa. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Are we there? Possibly. Could we be there? Yeah. It is scary because I don't want to go back to that you don't want to go back to that truck. I don't want to go to that 150 square foot box.
Yep. Here's the reframe though. Playing bigger doesn't mean louder. We talked about this on Saturday. It means being more honest with yourself. You need to ask yourself, where am I shrinking to stay accepted? We talked about that earlier. What decision am I avoiding because it feels too big? Who would I become if I stopped minimizing myself? That true shift comes with permission, and the permission can only be given by yourself. You're the only one that can give you permission to do that. You telling me on Saturday, God bless you for doing that. Thank you. But I still have to make that decision. And the real risk, here's where the golden nugget is. The real risk isn't failing. It's succeeding at a life that feels smaller than what you know is possible. And that's where I'm at today. Playing small has hidden costs, but playing aligned has compounding returns. Where am I playing small and what is it costing me? That's the real question you need to ask yourself. Because the moment you see it clearly, you can choose differently and make a damn difference for yourself and for others. Now I just need to kick my own ass.
And that's really what it is, right? In a nutshell, that's all it really is. And so we're talking about having coaches and stuff like that. All we're doing is opening Pandora's box so you can go kick your own ass.
Yep.
Got it in you. Everybody that we watch this, we say this, is like you were made to be great. You had no backup plan when you were born. You were made to be great. We get complacent or we hear the no's. We have a whole bunch of episodes that really leads up to this. Actually, I think you could probably start on about episode 125 and work your way up to this. And this is a culmination of kind of where we're at as of right now. But there's a story of multiple chapters.
You want to fit in. Everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to stand out.
It's okay. It's okay to be the example of success. It's okay to be the example of failure, because you learn from that. Knowledge, you're constantly learning. Having perspective of what that failure was about, that's the wisdom. That's the wisdom. Knowledge, perspective, they're two different things. Knowledge is learning, okay, how did I fail? Okay, did that. So the next time it comes out, so my perspective on this is going to be, that's the wisdom, and you get to share that. So, man, that's some good stuff. And again, knowing you for as long as I have, that was pretty vulnerable, bro.
Yeah.
Open it up to stay and to actually show that Brent has some kinks in his armor and they need to be pounded out and reshaped and refined.
Well, the real cost for me is what am I showing my kids? That it's okay to be socially acceptable, that it's okay not to show others your successes. I talk about showing your failures all the time, and I do a really good job at that, teaching others where I failed and where they shouldn't. But really, really where am I at with that is what I'm evaluating myself right now. And we'll continue.
So we have a couple, we talked about this too. We use like, okay, it's the end of 2026. Are you guys shutting it down, doing all those different things? And realistically, you should have the throttle fully pressed down and getting up and ready to go before January 1st hits here. So I think for the people that are watching this is really go back and listen to what Brent has to say. Don't let humility be a detriment to you. Share your wins, get better. Because something didn't work in the past, which we talked about, doesn't mean you can't do it in the future. Start getting around people that are going to give you honest opinions. You talked about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And how to reevaluate, how to constantly raise standards. We've talked about, and can't say this enough. There's not a quick fix. No one's coming to save us. There's not an easy button. There's all that stuff.
Yep.
But you get around guys like us or girls like us, the Ednas, the Gigi Matakos, and all this stuff, all these people that we have on our shows over the last couple of years, that cool shit will happen.
Amen.
So final words from you, even though that we always said about scratching the surface, we went deep today.
Yeah.
So what do you got for me?
When I say go make a damn difference for you, your family, and your community, start with you. If you're not making a damn difference for yourself, who can you?
Awesome, man.
That's all I got, buddy.
I know you do. Guys, that's it, man. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Unpack it. Go back. We're going to create a lot of shorts out of this one too.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, if you haven't done so yet, as we always say in the beginning and especially at the end, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button or whatever platform you're listening to, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iTunes, whatever it is. We're on all of those. We send a link out every week. We have our own Instagram channel now that we're going to enhance, kind of give you some daily quotes, some daily clips to help you scratch the surface and actually open up Pandora's box a little bit deeper. But most of all, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Wherever you see Old Guys Still Rock, do that, because we want to help your life become better. Are we the end all be all? No. But we know that sometimes if you're like Brent and me and a lot of guys that we hang out with, our standards are constantly raising, and we want to help each other get to that spot. So if you haven't done so yet, follow us and let us know how we took a win or a loss and we helped you make that better. But we're going to have a kind of a short week next week. We'll be back on Wednesday because it's the day before Christmas. I think, is it Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Next week. Okay. So we're going to have a Christmas Eve special, whatever. We'll do that stuff. So until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless, guys. Take